Yeah, he was only a young fella, and many a time. See, my grandfather was a captain on the sailing vessel.
Usman Larvik?
No, my father's uncle, my father's father, and his name was Gabriel Hansen, and he was a captain on it. But they came pretty close many times. But the terrible storms they were in, that they lost most of the sails.
These were sailboats?
Sure, there are no motors, nothing, no motors.
So your father worked on sailing ships?
Yeah, and they
salt pork.
Something salt pork or that kind. And they didn't have meals like we had today. You can be sure of that. And my uncle, didn't he one time get Barry?
Which uncle, Matthias?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
And where do you get that? Where do you get that from?
A lack of vitamin C.
Yeah. So, but somehow they made it. But there was a lot of vessels like that that didn't make it, and many of them was around the Feather area, and Fleckerfjord area. They didn't make it. But later on, my father came to America.
And how many trips did he make, and when? He came. He spent 30 years in America off and on?
Well, he went back and forth because those days, there were times were bad in Norway, and he came to America. And
just a second. Your father came back and forth to America.
Yeah. But my mother was here too, and they got married over here.
Oh, they did?
Oh, they met over here.
They met in America?
Yeah, they met here, yeah. My mother was a domestic.
Yeah?
And she worked for a lot of rich people, several rich families during the years she was here. And they were married here, and shortly afterwards, they decided to go back to Norway. And
well, how many years do you think she spent in this country, all told?
well, I guess she was here about a dozen years, 12 years, give or take.
And then he came back after she was back in Norway?
Well, he spent a few years in Norway, and then he came back here, and then he would be over here about 3 or 4 years, and then he'll go back to Norway for a couple of years, and then come back here again, back and forth. And one time, the family was supposed to, all of us were supposed to come over. And my father even built a house on Maple Street in West Orange.
Maple Street? Maple Avenue?
Maple Avenue. It's a Maple Street down by Old Lady.
Maple Street, one block before 68
yeah, Old Lady
Lane.
Old Lady Lord.
Oh.
And then he built a house there, and he was supposed to go. I don't know what happened. I can never figure it out. I think my mother was afraid, but the whole family was supposed to immigrate to America at that time.
When would that have been?
1923.
1923. Of course, shortly after that,
She knows all that.
There were no children born after that.
The Great Depression. The Great Depression came a few years later, you know.
So they decided to stay over there. But then when was the last time she came back to America?
Well, she came back right before the war. She came back for a visit. That was probably in 39.
38, she went back in 38.
Oh yeah, she came in 38, yeah,
Shooting you.
in 38, and she went back in 39. And that time, the war was going on in Europe. And well, it started there with Hitler take over the Austria, I think. But then she knew the war was coming, but she wanted to go back.
Judith was engaged.
And be with my sister and my brother. She didn't want to leave.
The last boat back in 1939.
She didn't want to leave them alone there. And she felt that she should go back, and that's what she did. That was the last time.
In 39?
Back in 39, yeah. So my dad, he was here during the whole war. He was
so they were separated, and they didn't know how long it would be till the war was over.
Nobody knew, yeah. But as soon as the war was over, he went back. I think he went back in 45.
But then did he come back over here again?
He came back for a visit.
Oh, because there's a picture of him up on Birchwood Avenue there.
Yeah, he came back for a visit.
Engel put him to work on his house.
At that time that my brother house, when he was building a house.
He laid in bed and ate chocolate, and Florence had a fit. Nibbles of chocolate got all over
Your
her.
grandpa did?
Oh, well, she tells us all the bad things. She doesn't say the good
Well,
things.
those are the amusing things.
Well, anyway,
it wasn't all roses.
he helped with the house. He helped with the house, but I don't know if he stayed up there the whole time, with them the whole time.
Yes, he did.
He did?
He didn't stay down at 68 Valley Way.
No, he never, as far as I know, he never stayed there. They didn't get along too good, the two brothers.
No?
Well, they all.
She had him every Christmas and Thanksgiving.
They would argue a lot, but
It was a one-way.
then he left, and they were the best of friends, you know, just like nothing happened. They could argue for an hour or so about something, but then afterwards they were the best of friends again. So they were really they didn't turn out too bad. But
So now during the war, she and Judith were put in a, well, not a concentration camp, but something like that.
They were American citizens. See, even though we were all born in Norway, we were still American citizens.
Well, Judith wasn't.
Oh yeah, she was.
She was an American citizen?
Yeah,
You can claim it up until age 21.
821, you could claim it.
But she chose not to come over here.
Yeah,
She's a Norwegian citizen now?
yeah, oh yeah. After 21 years old.
Oh, I see. Now what were they? They were in a concentration camp for a couple of
Well,
years?
what happened is that they were American citizens, and when the Germans came, they were looking for the American citizens. And they were the first ones to be locked up. So my mother and Judith, they were sent to a place called Greenie. That's a concentration camp over by Oslo. And they were there for quite a while.
A couple of years?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if it could have been a couple
I don't think it was that
No?
long ago.
No?
They were released.
Maybe not.
She welcomed the Englishmen when they landed. And they took part in the burial, you know, 6
Yeah.
people were killed. And
My
Yeah.
mother could talk very good English, even though she hadn't been away from America a long time. She still could converse in English language very good. And they had
she
a,
got the most Red Cross letters because I sent them. 29 words once a month.
yeah, she got a lot. She knew what was going on.
Oh, you
over
could
there.
communicate during the war?
We
Yeah.
went down to the American Red Cross.
Red Cross.
I thought your father didn't have any word from them for the whole war.
Oh yes, he knew. But I don't know if they could. I don't know if they could send. We didn't get too many letters from them.
No, we sent to them.
We sent to them.
But you didn't know how well they were.
And we also send.
They were censored, you know.
Didn't we send food too?
That was when the war was over.
Oh, when the war was over, okay. See, the Germans, they ruined a lot of things over there.
They were cut off from things like pineapple
Well,
and chocolate and toilet tissue. And
they took a lot of food
Clothing.
out of the country and used it for their own people, you know. So they had it pretty tough for a few years there. And then the English came when the war, towards the end of the war, the British, the army, English army came in there. The first thing they did, they destroyed all the bicycles. They rounded up the bicycle and rode over with tanks, smashed them to
The English
pieces.
did?
Yeah, because they didn't want to ruin their own market, you know, because they made a lot of bicycles too, and so they smashed the old ones, so they made people buy new ones. My brother said that, who was always been in politics, Gable, and he said that the Germans were even better than the British. The German soldiers,
They were kinder?
they were better. They treated them better than the English did, yeah. Yeah, but during the war, Norway had a lot of ships, you know. They always had a lot of ships. Oil tankers and freighters. and every one of them was, well, when the Germans took over Norway, the ships escaped from Norway and went in with the Allies. Allies, that means they,
Yeah, they joined the fleet.
yeah, and those ships were going all the time, across the Atlantic, even up to Murmansk in Russia, with goods and weapons, you know. Some of them, a lot of them didn't make it, but most of them did.